Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Before we starting from the Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my obeisance unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, unto Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the speaker, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of music and learning. And I offer my obeisance to Lord Singadeva and Prahlad Maharaj, and I hope they bestow the blessings so that the reading will go on nicely. And I beg the mercy of all of you, so that bless us that we can speak, that we are not hampered by anything, so that it will go fluently. Thank you very much. We're still waiting for Prahlad, or did he show up? The first time a play was ever staged was when the demigods conquered the demons in battle. At that time, the Gandharvas and other lesser demigods, they staged a performance to enact it out. But the demons didn't like it to be ridiculed, so they sent ghosts and spirits, and the actors couldn't speak. So since then, before they do a drama, they blow the conch and offer arti to the stage to get rid of evil spirits. But because you are all here, I hope by the purity of all of you, there will be no other living entities which we can't see hampering us. Thank you very much. Prahlad. Blow the conch 3 times. Sri Narasimha Jaya 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 Narasimha Re.
Sri Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Re.
Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
Sri Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Re.
Sri Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Re.
Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
Sri Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Re.
Sri Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Re.
Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa.
So Prahlad, you have to sit down, and when he goes to stage, you come up. Sorry. Jai. The narrator starts.
Once, in Satya Yuga, thousands of centuries ago, there lived a demonic man by the name of Hiranyakashipu, who wanted to be unconquerable and free from old age, and to be the emperor of the entire universe. Therefore, he began performing austerities. Extremely disturbed because of these severe penances, all the demigods left their planets and went to Brahma Loka.
O Master of the universe, because of the fire emanating from Hiranyakashipu's head, as a result of his severe austerities, we have left our planets and have come to you. If you think it proper, kindly stop these disturbances before all your obedient subjects are annihilated.
Lord Brahma, accompanied by great sages, immediately started for the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing his penances. At first, he couldn't see anyone, for Hiranyakashipu's body was covered by an anthill and by grass and bamboo sticks. Then Lord Brahma spotted him, resembling a cloud-covered sun, heating the entire world by his austerities.
O son of Kashyapa Muni, please get up, get up. All good fortune unto you. I have been very much astonished to see your endurance. In spite of being eaten and bitten by all kinds of worms and ants, you are keeping your life air circulating within your bones. No one previously could perform such severe austerities to sustain his life without even drinking water for 100 celestial years. For this reason, I am now prepared to give you all benedictions according to your desire. Your audience with me will not go in vain.
Then Lord Brahma sprinkled water from his water pot upon Hiranyakashipu's body. As soon as he was sprinkled with the water, Hiranyakashipu arose, endowed with a full body, with limbs so strong that they could bear the striking of a thunderbolt. With physical strength and a bodily luster resembling molten gold, he emerged from the anthill, a completely young man. Extremely pleased, Hiranyakashipu offered dandavats to Lord Brahma.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord within this universe. O best of the givers of benediction, if you will kindly grant me what I desire, then please let me not meet death from any of the living entities created by you, and grant me that I not die within or outside any residence.
So be it.
Not during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or on the sky.
Granted.
Grant me that I won't be killed by any weapon, nor by any human being or beast.
As you desire.
Grant me further that I not be killed by any demigod or demon, or by any great snake from the lower planets. Give me sole lordship over all the living entities and presiding deities, and all the mystic power attained by long austerities and the practice of yoga.
O Hiranyakashipu, these benedictions for which you have asked are difficult to obtain for most men. Nonetheless, O my son, I shall grant them to you.
Being worshipped by Hiranyakashipu and praised by great sages, Lord Brahma departed. The demon, having thus been blessed by Lord Brahma, and having acquired a lustrous golden body, continued to remember the death of his brother and his enmity towards Lord Vishnu. He became the conqueror of the entire universe. Fearful and disturbed, and unable to find any other shelter, the demigods at last approached Lord Vishnu.
O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O dear Lord, we humbly request you for Hiranyakashipu's immediate demise, as the disturbance he is creating is too much for us to bear.
O Devas, do not fear. All good fortune to you. I know all about the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. Please wait patiently until that time.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus reassured all the demigods, they offered their respectful obeisances unto him, and returned confident that the demon was now practically dead. Hiranyakashipu had a wonderful son, well-qualified sons, of whom the one named Prahlad was the best. Indeed, Prahlad was a reservoir of all transcendental qualities, being an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. Although born in a family of asuras, he himself was not a demon, but a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Unlike other asuras, he was never envious of Vaishnavas and never agitated when put into danger. From the very beginning of his childhood, he was uninterested in childish playthings. Indeed, he gave them up altogether and remained silent, being fully absorbed in God consciousness. Because of his spiritual advancement, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes sang loudly, and sometimes began to dance in ecstasy. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end, and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. His father sent him to Nanda and Amarka, and two sons of Shukracharya, to be educated. Prahlad heard the topics of politics and economics taught by his teachers, but he thought that politics involves considering someone as a friend and someone else as an enemy, and thus he did not like it. Once, Hiranyakashipu took Prahlad on his lap.
My dear son, Please, let me know what you think is the best of all the subjects you have studied from your teachers.
O best of the Asuras, as far as I have learned from my guru, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thus is the intelligence of children spoiled by the words of the enemy. Give complete protection to this boy at the Gurukul, so that Vaishnavas who may go there in disguise may not further influence his intelligence.
When Hiranyakashipu's servants brought Prahlad back to the Gurukul, his teacher Sanda and Amarka, after hearing what had happened, became very upset.
Dear Prahlad, all peace and good fortune unto you.
Now, kindly, do not speak lies. Just reply with the truth.
All the other boys are not like you, for they do not speak in a deviant way.
How have you learned these instructions?
Yeah. O best of your family, how has your intelligence been spoiled in this way?
Has this pollution of your intelligence been brought about by you or by enemies?
We, your teachers, are very eager to hear about this.
So, please, tell us the truth, Prahlad.
I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has deluded the intelligence of man by creating the distinctions of my friend and my enemy. Although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources, I am now actually experiencing this. O Brahmanas, as iron moves automatically towards a magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu. Thus, I have no independence.
Oh, please, bring me a stick. This Prahlad is damaging our name and fame.
He has become like a cinder in the dynasty of the Asuras. So now he needs to be treated by the fourth of the four kinds of political diplomacy.
A stick!
This rascal has appeared like a thorn tree in a forest of sandalwood.
To cut down sandalwood trees, an axe is needed. And the wood of the thorn tree is very suitable for the handle of such an axe.
Vishnu is the axe for cutting down the sandalwood forest of our family. And this Prahlad is a handle for such an axe.
Indeed.
His teachers Sanda and Amarka chastised and threatened Prahlad in various ways and began teaching him about the path of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. One day, after Prahlad's mother had personally washed the body and dressed him nicely with sufficient ornaments, they presented him before his father. Seeing that this child had fallen at his feet to pay his obeisances, Hiranyakashipu seated Prahlad on his lap and began smelling his head.
My dear son, for so much time, you've heard many things from your teachers. Now, please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge.
Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving his lotus feet, offering him respectful worship and prayers, becoming his servant,
Very nice.
considering him to be one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 methods are accepted as pure devotional service, and one should be understood to be the most learned person who has dedicated his life to one or more of these 9 methods to Shri Vishnu.
Vishnu? Oh, unqualified, most heinous sons of a Brahmin! You have disobeyed my order and taken shelter of the party of the enemies! You have taught this poor boy about Vishnu! What is it, nonsense?
O enemy of King Indra!
Your Majesty,
Whatever your son has said was not taught to him by me or anyone else.
it is intrinsic to his nature.
Therefore, please do not unnecessarily accuse us. It is not good to insult a Brahmin in this way.
Indeed.
Prahlad, you rascal, most fallen of our family! If you have not received this education from your teachers, where have you gotten it?
Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclination towards the Lord are never aroused by their own efforts or by the instructions of others.
Blinded by anger, Hiranyakashipu threw Prahlad off his lap.
Take this boy away from me! He deserves to be killed, as he's the killer of my brother! For he has given up his family to engage in the devotional service of the enemy! Therefore, kill him!
Hiranyakashipu's demonic servants, who all had fearful faces, sharp teeth, and reddish coppery beards and hair, began striking the tender parts of Prahlad's body with their tridents. But their weapons had no effects on his body. When all their attempts to kill his son were futile, Hiranyakashipu, being most fearful, began contriving other means to kill him. He threw his son beneath the feet of big elephants. He threw him among huge snakes, employed destructive spells, hurled Prahlad from the top of a hill, administered poison, starved him, exposed him to cold, winds, fire, and water, threw heavy stones to crush him, but found that he could not in any way harm Prahlad.
I have devised many means of killing him. But despite all my endeavors, he could not be killed. Indeed, he appears to be immortal. Each time he saved himself by his own powers without being affected in the least. Therefore, because of my enmity towards him, I shall surely die.
Oh Lord, no. We know that when you simply move your eyebrows, all the devas of the various planets are most afraid.
Without the help of any assistant, you have conquered all the three worlds, Your Majesty.
Therefore, we do not find any reason for you to be morose and full of anxiety, Your Majesty.
Until the return of our father Shukra Acharya, let us bind him with the ropes of Varuna, so that he cannot flee. Thus, there is no cause for anxiety, Your Majesty.
And by the time he is somewhat grown up, he will change in his intelligence.
Indeed.
After hearing these instructions, Hiranyakashipu agreed and requested them to instruct Prahlad in the duty of royalty. When the teachers went home to attend to their household affairs, the students of the same age as Prahlad would call him.
Prahlad, we're going to play outside. Would you like to come?
Oh yes, Prahlad, please come. It will be so much fun.
My dear friends, one who is intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life to perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who is in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, is the Father of all living entities. You cannot please him by becoming perfect brahmanas, demigods, or great sages, or by becoming perfect in etiquette or learning, nor by charity, austerity, sacrifice, cleanliness, or vows. The Lord is pleased only if you have unflinching, unalloyed devotion to him. Without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. Therefore, my dear friends, please act in such a way that the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the conception of material knowledge, will be satisfied. Act without enmity and show mercy to all living entities. I received this knowledge, which is based on logic and philosophy, from the great saint Narada Muni.
But Prahlad, neither you nor we know any other teacher than Sanda and Amarka.
Dear friends, how was it possible to hear from you, for you to hear from Narada?
When my father went to Mandarachala mountain to execute severe austerities, in his absence the demigods, headed by Indra, made a strong attempt to subdue all the demons in warfare. They became victorious, and Indra arrested my mother. As she was being led away, Narada appeared on the scene and requested Indra to release her. After accepting his instructions, my mother stayed in Narada's care because she was pregnant of me and desired my safety. Narada Muni delivered his instructions both to my mother, who was serving him, and to me, who was within the womb. My mother has forgotten all those instructions, but I, blessed by Narada, did not. The real problem of life, my friends, is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, my dear friends, immediately begin with meditating upon Him and worshipping Him, who is the Supersoul in everyone's heart.
All the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instructions of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously and rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers. When Hiranyakashipu heard about this, he became extremely angry and decided to kill Prahlad.
O most impudent, unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you are an obstinate fool, as you violated my power to rule you. Today, therefore, I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. You know that when I'm angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with its chief rulers. By whose power does a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you?
O great king, the source of my strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Controller. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His power, He creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it. My dear Father, please do not discriminate between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised towards everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world.
You rascal! You're trying to minimize my value as if you were better than me at controlling the senses. This is over-intelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. Oh, most unfortunate one. You've always described a supreme being other than me, who's the controller of everyone and who's all-pervading. But where is he?
He is everywhere, Father.
Really?
Yes, Father.
Is he in here?
Yes, Father.
Is he in there?
Yes, Father.
Then is he this fellow here?
Yes, Father.
Because you are speaking so much nonsense, I shall now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your most worshipable God come to protect you.
Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword. Cursing Prahlad again and again, he got up from his royal throne and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. The associates of Hiranyakashipu became afraid as none of them could find the origin of that sound. Then the Lord appeared from the pillar in a form never before seen, just to prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was true.
What is this creature? Half man, half lion.
The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions.
Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. What is this use of such an attempt? Who can fight me? Ah!
Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord. When Hiranyakashipu attacked the effulgent Lord, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. Thereafter, the great demon, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Narasimhadev with his club and began to beat him. Lord Narasimhadev, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. When Lord Narasimhadev gave Hiranyakashipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and let it slip from his mouth, the demigods who had lost their boats and were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon became very perturbed. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Narasimhadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakashipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here and there and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Narasimhadev placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his tights, and in the doorway of the assembly hall the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hands. Lord Narasimhadev's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes were impossible to look at. Licking the edge of his mouth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead garlanded himself with the intestines taken from Hiranyakashipu's body. Then, after uprooting the demon's heart, he threw his body aside and turned towards Hiranyakashipu's soldiers, who had come in thousands to fight with him with raised weapons. But Lord Narasimhadev killed all of them merely with the end of his nails.
Die!
Being very angry and finding no contestant to face his power, he sat down in the assembly hall on Hiranyakashipu's throne. Because of fear and obedience, no one could come forward to serve the Lord directly. The wives of the demigods showered flowers from heaven upon him, while the airplanes of the demigods, who desired to see the activities of the Supreme Lord, crowded the sky. All of them, headed by Lord Brahma, approached the Lord, their hands folded at their heads, but they dared not come forward before the Lord.
My Lord, you are unlimited and you possess unending potencies. No one can calculate your prowess, for your actions are never polluted by the material energy. Through the material qualities, you very easily create the universe, maintain it, and again annihilate it. Yet you remain the same. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
O Supreme Lord, you are our deliverer and protector. Our shares of sacrifices, which are actually yours, have been recovered by you. By your presence, the gloom and darkness in our hearts have been dissipated. O Lord, those who are always engaged in your service, which is more exalted than liberation, do not care about Kama, Artha, and Dharma.
After the prayers of Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and other demigods and great sages, Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, was requested to go before the Lord by all present, who because of fear could not do so. But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord and could not approach him.
My dear Prahlad, Lord Nrsimhadev is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease him.
When Lord Narasimha saw the small boy prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head. By the touch of Lord Narasimha's hand, Prahlad Maharaj was completely freed of all material contamination. At once he became transcendentally situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love, and his eyes with tears. His mind and sight were fixed upon Lord Nrsimhadev with full attention in full trance.
How is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of Asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, and all the saintly persons could not satisfy you by streams of excellent words. Then what about me, as I am not at all qualified? One may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, educations, sensory expertise, luster, influence, strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic power. But I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. The Supreme Lord is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering is for the benefit of the devotee. My Lord Nrsimhadev, please cease your anger now that my father has been killed. I am not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp, pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high, wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. O most powerful Lord, insurmountable Lord, who is kind to fallen souls, when will that moment come when you call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? My dear Lord, people in general want to be elevated to the heavenly planets, but I have seen that when my father was angry, the demigods were immediately afraid. Yet my father, who was so powerful, has now been vanquished by you. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because without offering prayers, dedicating the results of one's activities, worshipping you, walking on your behalf, always remembering you, and hearing about your glories, who can achieve that which is meant for the Paramahamsas?
My dear Prahlad, most gentle one, best of the family of the Asuras, all good fortune unto you. I am very much pleased with you. I fulfill the desires of all living beings, and therefore you may ask from me any benediction that you desire to be fulfilled.
O my Lord, best of the givers of benedictions, one who desires some material benefit in exchange for devotional service cannot be your pure devotee, as he is no better than a merchant who wants profit in exchange for service. If you at all want to bestow a benediction upon me, then I pray from your lordship that within the core of my heart there be no material desires.
My dear Prahlad, a devotee like you never desires any kind of material opulence, either in this life or in the next. Nonetheless, I order you to enjoy the opulences of the demons in this material world, acting as their king until the end of the duration of time occupied by Manu. It does not matter that you are in the material world. You should always, continuously hear the instructions and messages given by me and always be absorbed in thought of me. For I am the super soul existing in the core of everyone's heart. Therefore, give up fruitive activities and worship me. Oh, one who always remembers your activities and my activities also, and who chants the prayers you have offered, becomes free in due course of time from the reactions of material activities.
O Supreme Lord, because you are so merciful to the fallen souls, I ask you for only one benediction. I know that my father, at the time of his death, had already been purified by your glance upon him. But because of his ignorance of your beautiful power and supremacy, he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you were the killer of his brother. Thus, he directly blasphemed your lordship and committed sinful activities directed against me, your devotee. I wish that he be excused for these sinful activities.
My dear Prahlad, O most pure, O great saintly person, your father has been purified along with 21 forefathers in your family. Because you were born in this family, the entire dynasty has been purified. Whenever and wherever there are peaceful devotees who are well behaved and decorated with all good qualities, that place and the dynasty, even if condemned, are purified. Those who follow your example will naturally become my pure devotees, as you are the best example of my devotee. And others should follow in your footsteps.
As the Supreme Personality of Godhead ordered, Prahlad Maharaj performed the ritualistic ceremonies for his father and was enthroned in the former kingdom of his father.
O Supreme Lord of all lords, proprietor of the entire universe, O giver of benedictions to all living entities, O original person, because of our good fortune you have now killed this sinful demon, who was giving trouble to the entire universe. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the Supreme Soul. If one meditates upon your transcendental body, you naturally protect him from all sources of fear, even the imminent danger of death.
My dear Lord Brahma, O great Lord, born from the lotus flower, just as it is dangerous to feed milk to a snake, so it is dangerous to give benedictions to the demons, who are by nature ferocious and jealous. I warn you not to give such benedictions to any demon again.
Then, being worshipped by Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not visible to an ordinary human being, disappeared from that place. Anyone who with great attention hears this narration concerning the activities of Prahlad Maharaj, the killing of Hiranyakashipu, and the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narasimha, surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety.
Lord Narasimha Dev ki
Jai!